Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our weekly webinar. We are happy to have you join us. I'm Melinda Bikini, Director of Advocacy with the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. And today we are happy to bring together Meredith McGuffage, our leader of Team CCF, and Dave Fleischer. And they're going to explain the journey of hope, but throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we will get those questions answered. And I'm going to turn it over to Meredith.
Thank you, Melinda. So the foundation turned 15 years old this year, and we formed a committee to talk about ways to promote the 15th anniversary. And Dave, as a member of the committee, came forward with this idea of driving 15,000 miles across the U.S. to spread awareness and hope. And we are very excited to have him here today as he kicks off his journey. It's next week, 7 days from now, the 20th. So Dave, ready. But thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about your journey, why you're doing this, and where you're going.
Okay, the presentation's coming up, I know.
Yes, let me put it up here. Optimize. Are you guys able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, you just let me know when you want me to forward the slides.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for joining and giving me the opportunity to share a vision for my planned 15,000 mile journey, or as I'm calling it, the journey of hope. This journey actually started out as just me, a dad, looking to honor the memory of my daughter, Sarah. And it's turned out to be a heck of a lot more than that. So in the next few minutes, I'll give you a brief overview of the who, what, when, where, the why, and the how of my journey. But first, I'd like to address the mission. Next slide, please.
No, it's not going.
So this elaborate chart doesn't follow any kind of algorithms or anything, but what happened was when I started thinking about doing this and realized that the staff of the foundation liked the idea, what I started to do was look up different mission statements of some of the industry partners that support the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. And what I was looking for were common themes to see how collaborative all the industry partners were with the foundation. So the three words in the center is what I did was I just got a piece of sketch paper out and I started to write down the words. And the three P's in the center, patients, people, and partners, really came together in all of the mission statements. And then I looked at some of the other words that surrounded it, and I was really excited to see some of the things like committed and breakthrough and possibilities and how to serve and be meaningful, and then even empower and options and collaborative again. So I intend to keep these words close to me as I go on the journey and as I listen to the stories that people will share with me about what hope means to them. Next slide. So that if you can't see it, the top of this is just my why. And this is it. These pictures speak volumes to me because that's my daughter, Sarah, and my wife, Linda's daughter. And the one in the center was taken about 5 years ago at a Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation annual conference when Sarah was a speaker. And then the one on the right was taken on Mother's Day, just several months before Sarah passed. Also, you'll see my grandson, Austin, Sarah and Mike, Sarah's husband's son, on the left and the right. And I have to tell you that Austin was 17 months old when Sarah was diagnosed. And he's been through a lot. But I'm really happy to say that he's a very energetic, enthusiastic 8-year-old. And when he was less than 3 to 4 years old, I had the opportunity to try to chase after him in hospitals in 3 different states while Sarah was getting treatment. So I knew about the energy this guy has. And I would also like to point out that Sarah was a true warrior for 4.5 years. And one of the things that she did around 2016 was start the cholangiocarcinoma warriors or patients Facebook page. And that group now has about 750 members around the world. So with that, Melinda, if we could start the video.
Uh-oh. Rick, any suggestions here?
You should just.
There we go.
Okay.
I live with my husband, Mike, our son, Austin. He's your typical 3.5-year-old boy, super active from the time he gets up.
Linda, we
By the
can't.
time Austin comes downstairs, it's usually when I'm about to go out the door, so I at least get a chance to say.
You can't see it?
No.
All right, let me stop sharing and try that again. Sorry.
I live
How about now?
with my husband,
Yes.
Mike, our son, Austin. He's your typical 3.5-year-old boy, super active from the time he gets up. By the time Austin comes downstairs, it's usually when I'm about to go out the door, so I at least get a chance to say goodbye to him. Mike takes him to school, and my mom and I, head into the city to the hospital for treatment. Doesn't matter how old you are, you always want your mom there. It's funny the timing of everything, because she retired 2 or 3 months prior because her father was sick, and she just felt it was the right time. She could spend time with him. He passed May 2014. A month and a half later, I'm diagnosed with cancer. I'd gone to the emergency room with pain in my abdomen and in my back. Thought maybe it was my gallbladder. MRI showed otherwise. My cancer is called cholangiocarcinoma, which is bile duct cancer. I had a liver resection, and they removed 80% of my liver, including my bile duct and gallbladder. Recovered for about 8 weeks. Then we started chemo, and I did 6 months of chemo. I finished chemo March 4th of 2015. I was considered, we don't say remission or cancer-free because it's, as they say in my world, no evidence of disease. I kept getting CAT scans every 3 months. It was showing no cancer still, everything was good. February 10th, I was told the cancer returned. It spread to my lungs. And that was a really scary time. To know that it was back, but I was prepared to do it all over again. It's a roller coaster, really. Well, that's where I'm at, on a roller coaster. Everybody says to me, you're always smiling, and I'm like, well, because it makes me feel better, it makes other people feel better. I've been doing this a long time. Yeah. Every time I stand up. So this is an injection that I'll get 27 hours after chemo. It will activate. And the purpose of this is to stimulate my bone marrow to help produce the white blood cell count. Definitely Friday morning I will be feeling it because it causes severe bone pain. My husband, Mike, he works all day. He's doing manual labor. He wants to come home and relax and just unwind. See the dust and grime. He wants to ride his bike, and I don't have it in me to stand out there.
Hey, put it up, okay?
You see? You want a little more?
You know, when you say your vows in sickness and in health, like who would have thought this early into our marriage we would be dealing with this? But he's never blinked an eye, never battled, you know, like he was never like, I'm not doing that, I can't help. He'll do whatever I ask him to do, and he's a huge support, and he's such a good dad.
No, it's delicious, Mommy. I'm gonna clean up dinner.
That'll be good.
Put it here, put it on the stove right here.
Shucks.
My mom, Linda, but she's a huge help. She comes over, makes him breakfast, takes him to daycare, or she spends the day with him. She helps clean the house, do the dishes, makes meals. She's amazing. You know, sometimes I feel guilty having her do so much. But she says, this is what I do. I'm a mom. Seriously? Why don't you use the potty inside? When you're a parent, you find yourself saying things you never thought you'd say. Like, don't lick your shoes.
Need help.
No way.
Bedtime, we deal with the bedtime struggle just like everybody else.
No.
The manners, talking back.
That's better.
But he's just full of life, and his smile is infectious, and he's the reason why I'm doing everything that I'm doing, and that I'm trying so hard. You know, a lot of times people say, like, I don't know how you do it. So you could stay in your bed and be depressed and just lie down and take it. But I don't feel like I have a choice, because I still have to be his mother. And even like last night, I was so tired, but he wanted me to put him to bed. And my legs work, I can walk up the steps, I'll do it. I'm only 33, so I got a long way to go. You know, I want to be that slow person driving down the road for you to be like, hey lady, speed it up, you know? I want to be old. Irene's day had been just about perfect. Everything on the list was almost checked off. As evening came and the sun was starting to set, I think our family is extraordinary. We've come a long way. And we got a long way to go too, though. But we can do it.
All right, give me a second to figure out how to get back to the presentation.
We may all need a second.
Well, that's okay. It helps me get a chance to get my composure back.
Yes.
Good, me too. Okay, one more time, sorry. I probably have to go back too, don't I?
Yeah, I have to go back a couple of slides to the my what.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that banner is up top. Maybe I missed an opportunity. There we go. So you understand the who and the why, but so my what is, I guess it's spelled out pretty clearly on the page, but I would say the first two bullets are why you would do what I'm embarking on. And one is to build awareness for the foundation. The other is just cholangiocarcinoma in itself, because cholangiocarcinoma is a rare cancer with under less than 10,000 cases in the US diagnosed each year. And it's my understanding that if any cancer has less than 40,000 patients in the country, it's considered a rare cancer. And generally, there's just so many people that don't know anything about it. And part of my what is to just interact with people that are unknowing, if you will. Additionally, it's now the trip has turned into a fundraiser, as well as building awareness for additional research. And as you can guess, there isn't a lot of funding for a very rare cancer like cholangiocarcinoma. So the more that can be raised, the better chance we have of finding a cure for this dreaded disease and helping improve the quality of life for those that are affected. And as was already mentioned by Meredith, this is the 15th anniversary of the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. So there's been quite a bit of activity in the past, but boy, there's going to be a lot more in the future, and that's what we're building for. And associated with the 15th anniversary, I started looking at things with the number 15, how I can involve that, and then involving the words of crystal, which is often correlates with the 15th anniversary, like a wedding anniversary, and then the words clear and hope. And I'll explain a little more about those in just a minute. Next slide, please. So the WHO is a long list of patients and caregivers and families, doctors, researchers, industry partners, CCF staff members, volunteers that are so important, and advocates that are advocating for patients and just on behalf of the entire cholangiocarcinoma world. And then really importantly, again, is anyone that's willing to listen. And as I mentioned before, it's those that are the unknowing that don't know about this cancer. So in a lot of these places, really what I want to do is also give thanks and hope to people. I would tell you that a year and a half ago, my wife Linda and I had the opportunity to speak at Mass General Hospital in Boston to a rather large group of people that, as part of continuing education, if you will, were there to learn about Sarah's case. And when I spoke, my main point was to just make the connection between people, the human connection between patients, caregivers, and doctors, to let them know that they bring hope to us. And it was really a very powerful moment because people had, they came up to us afterwards and said, we hardly ever get presentations about the human connection. And it meant a lot to them. And I know that that's one of the things that the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation prides himself on as one of the 4 key elements of the foundation. So it was really a great opportunity. Next slide. So this map is my where and when. As was mentioned by Meredith, the trip starts next week. And I can't believe that we're closing in on 1 week because this has been in the planning stages for a while. But my plan is to drive at least 15,000 miles up, down, and across the lower 48 states with stops along the way. And I will tell you that originally I wanted to go across Canada as well, because then I could get to Hope, Alaska, and which is one of the towns I wanted to get to. But because of COVID, I can't cross that border. So I have to do the US 2.5 times, basically, to get my 15,000 miles in. So the 15,000 miles is associated with the 15th anniversary. I started off saying I wanted to visit at least 15 patients and caregivers that were important to Sarah during her battle. That number is now at 20. And I think it's really great because in the last 2 days, I've had requests from people that have seen things online and they're asking if I can stop to see them. So I think this list will probably get a little bigger. And I'm going to have to try to figure out how to manage the time on that because it's pretty tight. So I'll be meeting with people coast to coast. And also, I'm going to stop in at least 15 towns named Hope in the US. And that, to me, I want to see what people think about living in a town with the name of Hope. Most of the towns are very small. There's a median population of the 23 towns in the lower 48 states of 400 people. So I think I ought to have the opportunity to speak with people unencumbered, if you will. And then also I'll be meeting with several cholangio specialists on my journey. So the timing, I hope to be done with the 15,000 miles and hitting all my schedules by July 1st so that I can get home and take a nap. Next slide. So the how, I'm getting support and collaboration through the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, as well as a variety of business and industry sponsors, friends, and volunteers. And I'm happy to say even my past employer, even though I retired a year and a half ago. I thought that was pretty great. We're going to have media coverage across the country, hopefully. Definitely social media. I've got my GoPro and dash cam so that I can record things along the way and hopefully post some interesting videos or photos for people. Importantly, I just got this today, the renderings on the right of the car that I'll be driving. And I'm remiss in not telling you that my wife, Linda, she'll be with me for the first 10 days, but I said, I'm the only driver because I got to do this. And she's very happy with that. So that's the car that I'll be driving. So if you see a Honda CRV wrapped with Journey of Hope on it, feel free to honk your horn as I go by. I won't be offended and think it's a threat of any kind. I'll be distributing some communication material as well as collateral materials or swags to industry parties along the way, including some cute little gifts. And then my how, I say lots of blood, sweat, and tears. Hopefully there's no blood, but I know there's going to be sweat and tears along the way because it's a topic that's very close to the heart. Next slide. So you may not be able to see the banner at the top, but it's thanks for sharing the hope and give a little whistle. So these are two images that in closing, I just wanted to share with you and what they mean to me. First of all, I have to give a plug for my wife, Linda. The image on the left shows a sampling of hope rocks that Linda has painted and for my journey. And as it stands right now, last week I shipped about 70 pounds worth of rocks to Utah that I'll be distributing along the way. There's about 80 rocks that I have. So the idea is I'll be placing hope rocks in the towns of hope and with patients and caregivers that I meet. I'll be leaving rocks in every state that I visit, as well as in the towns of hope. So you can be on the lookout for them sometime in the future. They'll probably, if they're in really remote spots, that's only because I got lost. And so you can hope maybe you'll find them along the way and that'll help. The other thing I wanted to mention about Linda, I had said earlier on that Sarah started the Facebook page for patients years ago. My wife, Linda, started the Facebook page for cholangiocarcinoma caregivers back in 2017. And I'm happy to report that now has over 1,400 members worldwide, and it's managed by other supporters at this time. The last thing I wanted to mention is the whistle on the right. This whistle was given to me by a wonderful person by the name of Janice Meyer in Wilmington, Delaware. Janice is a cholangiocarcinoma patient, as well as an avid supporter of the foundation, does amazing things. And after Sarah passed and Janice had heard a story I told about it, she sent 2 whistles to Linda and I for Give a Little Whistle. So you might say, well, what's this all about? Well, it goes that I shared this story at Sarah's funeral. And what had happened was about 2 weeks before Sarah passed, there were a couple of occasions where it was just she and I, and she was having difficulty speaking at that time, but I was close to her. And on more than one occasion, I heard her whisper, "Give a little whistle." And I'd say, "What?" She said, "Give a little whistle." And I said, "What's that about, Sarah?" And she just smiled. And I never heard the reason for that. So I went to Linda and I said, "Linda, what's this give a little whistle? I don't get it." And she said, "I don't either." And to make it even more of a wonder, Sarah hated the movie Pinocchio where Jiminy Cricket says, "Give a little whistle." So I thought, well, so maybe there's some hidden meaning, and she's sharing that with me. So I looked at, I Googled Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio and so on and so forth. And Jiminy Cricket, if anybody remembers that from their childhood, or maybe last week, is that he would say, "Give a little whistle and let your conscience be your guide." And I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful, because when Jiminy Cricket said, "Let your conscience be your guide," he was basically talking about doing the right thing. And I thought, what a great memory to have from Sarah. It still makes me smile. So with that, I say, give a little whistle and let your conscience be your guide. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. That was incredible. We're super excited for you to start your journey. I'm going to go to the chat box and see if we have any questions. And Meredith, if you want to give any details about the Journey of Hope, you're welcome to do so.
Well, we do have a microsite on our website, and we could put I'll put the URL in the chat box, but there you can track Dave's journey, and we're going to update it so the map will show where Dave is at each point during this month-long journey. And also there you could, he's going to post lots of pictures from his journey, maybe a few videos, so you can see what he's seeing and see just the whole, feel like you're there. So I'll put that in the chat, that URL.
Okay. And I don't see questions. I see, "Hi, Dave, missing you." And Linda, "Hope to see you soon." Mary Beth Lane. And then Tina says, "Way to go, David. Do I see you're going through Fort Collins, Colorado? I live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, but go to Fort Collins often."
If we want to provide information, you can go to dave.fleischer@cholangiocarcinoma.org. And if I can make something work on my schedule to add, I will do so. If not, I'll have to decline. But that one sounds like there may be some opportunity.
All right. Rick, do you want to pull up the Journey of Hope page just so people know where it's at and what it is all about?
Yeah, I can do that. 1 second. I have so many windows open.
While you're doing that, Rick, I would just say that that last question mentioned Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I happen to be a railroad buff, so maybe I could do that because I know Union Pacific is big there.
Okay, so our little microsite is still a work in progress, of course, because Dave hasn't started yet. But you can kind of see where he'll be. We kind of marked the locations of hope, the cities of hope, where he'll be and approximately when he'll be there. And we have a picture of Sarah and Dave, and then we also put down the dates, tentative. These are all tentative, of course, tentative dates of when and where he'll be.
And for some reason, Rick, it's not scrolling with you.
Oh, great. Well, I encourage everyone to go to the link I put in chat.
I do know that it scrolls because I've done it. So
Yeah.
Yes,
and
that's.
Did we say that you're starting in Salt Lake City? I can't even remember if we said that you're starting in Salt Lake, and we're going to have a Facebook Live event on the 20th, 10 o'clock Mountain Time about. And you can see Dave start his journey that day, that morning, with a lot of the CCF staff there.
Yes. Okay, so Joe says, great presentation, very heartwarming. Thank you and good luck on your journey. We are with you all the way. Joe and Lori P.
They're the best.
Mary Beth Lane will connect with you to see if we can meet you along the way. We'll drive to you. And Tina says, yes, it would love to see you in Cheyenne. Charlene, my name is Charlene. Sarah was a coworker and friend, and she has missed so much. I'm so excited for you and Linda. What a wonderful way to honor Sarah. And help others. Sorry.
Melinda, can I just interrupt for a second?
Mhm.
I have to tell you about Sarah's coworkers. I gained a whole new level of respect for anybody that works in, if you will, social services and advocates for other people. Her entire office closed, and other offices, these are state offices in New Jersey, took up the load that day so that they could pay respects to Sarah. And I thought that was pretty darn cool for the state to do that.
Absolutely.
So great bunch.
Yes. And Charlene also says, yes, what a wonderful way to honor Sarah and help others. You have an amazing family. What can we do to help support you besides donations?
Get others to donate.
Great advice.
Share
Bring
the message.
Sure. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. A few brownies along the way wouldn't be bad.
I'll have those for you when you're here in Billings for sure. Okay, so people can track your progress along the way on the website, which Rick shared in the chat for everybody to see. And you can find it on our website in the search button by searching Journey of Hope, because that's the fastest way to get to it. And yeah, so the pictures will be posted, videos will be posted of his trip along the way. And if you guys have any other questions, like Dave said, you can send them to dave.fleischer, FLEISCHER @cholangiocarcinoma.org, or you can get a hold of us at the CCF, and we're happy to help as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about your journey, and thank you so much for being willing to do your journey for Sarah and for all of us cholangiocarcinoma patients. We appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you on the 26th.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you so much, everybody.
Everybody
I'll see you in Chicago.
Thank you.
have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.